Well, Coach, on senior night, it was nice to get everyone in because you have a lot of guys to get in, don't you?
Yeah, it's it's great to have. We have 23 guys on our varsity roster, and it's awesome that we have that many people out. But it is difficult to get people in all the time, especially if we're playing about 8 kids. That means a lot of people aren't playing, and to have our seniors here tonight to honor them is very special. I mean, they've been obviously had a lot of success. But I think one thing is that we have 10 seniors and 4 of them start. 6 of them really don't play any minutes, but yet they come every day with a really good attitude. They make us better in practice. They're excited for others. They haven't seemed jealous of other people's success or playing time, and I think that makes championship teams. It's not just the guys on the court, and so the casual fan just kind of notices the people on the court, but what they don't see is the practice and the locker room and the support that everybody else that doesn't see regular playing time get. And so we have, our guys like Mason Winker and Jacob Dickhouse, Kyle Neatfeld, Cole Weekman, Trevor Wensman, Zachary Edel. I mean, those guys come every day, work hard, are passionate about the game, love doing all the little things, and it's just a small thing that we can do to give them a start and playing time here on senior night.
To further that point, too, you can see that on the bench, say Melrose makes a 3 or an exciting play, these guys aren't just sitting there kind of sulking like, well, I don't get to play and it's no fun. They're actually having a great time, aren't they?
They're having a great time. They love it. And that's part of being part of team sports, and part of playing is to be able to be around others and be excited. And, we have a saying that be a star in your role. Whatever your role is, be a star, which means if you're a screener, offensive rebounder guy, then be the best screener, offensive rebounder guy you are, that you can be. If you are just kind of a cheerleader on the bench, and be the best cheerleader that you can be. So our guys have really embraced that. As we talked about before, our seniors that play and start, all 4 of them are introverts, and they don't say much at all. And so I think they feed off some of our other seniors that don't play much, because some of those guys are a little bit more outgoing, and it helps just bring the energy level up.
Say, if I could we go back to last Saturday against Bram? The first time Bram won, second time Melrose won. Can you make any comparisons with those 2 games?
Well, when we played in the Christmas tournament, it was the 3rd game in 3 days, and we're playing shot clock, so that's a little bit different. Then what's different about the game on Saturday night is we played at St. Cloud State, so it's a little bit different. But I think both the games kind of played out the way we thought, with how aggressive and how well that they shoot the basketball. It's just no lead is safe. It doesn't matter what it is. But if you get behind, it's not a big deal, because we know that we should be able to score off of them, and they're not going to hold the ball. So, but that was a very fun atmosphere there on a Saturday night to be able to play that game and then able to win was awesome.
Too, because we've talked many times last year, this year, it seems the bigger the moment, the bigger the baskets, and I can look at Dylan Hyder, for example. Man, he just rises to every occasion, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. The moment's not too big. We saw that last year as a sophomore, and, you can't teach that stuff. You wish you could, but it's in people's DNA or it's not. And so we need guys like that, obviously, but you can't really teach that stuff. But one thing I will say is that we have experience. So whatever moments we get into this year, they shouldn't be too big for us. And I think specifically our experience showed against Holdingford on Tuesday, and hopefully it will continue to show as we move forward.
A player that came in there Saturday, too, is your freshman. What is the backstory with Regan Nelson?
Yeah, Regan is a freshman, and we moved him up to B Squad this year, and he did a really nice job for us, and he just kind of took his game to the next level in the last month or so. And so as we were looking, we felt, well, maybe we should bring him up. And that's not the easiest discussion to have, because we have 22 players already, and to bring up a freshman to be in the rotation was meaning that somebody else would maybe not play as much. And so that was a little bit of a difficult situation. But, we wanted to have all of our options to us. We didn't want to get into a situation where we get into the playoffs and say, gosh, I wish we maybe could have had Regan here for a few minutes. And so we decided to bring him up, and he has performed wonderfully. He's got a very high basketball IQ. So he learned our entire playbook in about a day and a half. And he knows it from basically all 5 spots. So we just felt that he could give us a little lift, and he did, and he has so far.
Well, because as a result, you're dealing with a couple of injuries. What's the deal with Frankie Cervantes and Jordan Klophockey?
Well, Frankie is nursing a thigh bruise that he got against Sauk Center, so I don't even know how many weeks that ago was, and it just couldn't get the knot out of it. And he was his first game back today, so we'll see how he does. Jordan will be back on Thursday for us, so we got a few more guys back. That's kind of how it started with Regan a little bit, is that we lost some guys. But I also want to point back to our seniors, that you bring up a freshman, that could go one of number of ways on a team, but I credit our freshmen, not just our freshman starters, but specifically the 6 seniors that don't start, that embraced him and cheering for him and helping him out in practice. And you don't necessarily see that at all teams. Sometimes there might be animosity. They were the first ones to step up and help him out on anything that he needs.
But you can see with these Melrose boys, the bottom line is they just want to win, right?
Right. I think I was always a little bit worried about this week when the season came out, because, and even the last 2 weeks, because, I think we kind of had wrapped up the number 1 seed about a week or 2 ago, and we were probably looking forward to playoffs, and so it just kind of was like maybe we were just waiting to get to the playoffs. And so I hope tonight, now that we're done with the regular season, our focus can now just be on, let's just get to this playoffs that we've been kind of looking forward to.
Anything to talk about with the CD meeting yesterday?
Yeah, it kind of shook out. It's very obvious how everyone voted, and the 1 through 8 seeds were all pretty unanimous. So it, with our section, it's so good. It's not who you play, it's how you're playing. So I think everybody's going to have a good first round game. And the second round games, if the seeds hold, or even if they don't hold, will be an excellent experience down at St. John's. One thing we learned last year, Mark, and I've said this before, is simply that the competition we play and the section we play on prepares whichever team comes out of 6 for the state tournament. So whoever comes out of 6, any team from our side, from the other side, will be one of the favorites in the state tournament, I think, just because of the road that they had to get there through.
Well, again, you could just look at the top 4 seeds here in your half of the subsection here, and then you look at the other half with Bram and St. Cloud Cathedral should be the top teams, and man, you could just throw the dice and see how it works out, and it's going to be tough.
Yeah, that's why I don't think the seeds matter a whole lot, because it's how you're playing, and also it's kind of how you play that one night. I think all the teams are relatively even. So that if one team's maybe not hitting or one team gets in a foul trouble, that just could change the dynamic of the game. But we've had great postseason success over the last few years, and we hope to build off of our experience with that. But the margin of difference between us, the number 1 seed, and some of the other teams is relatively small.
So when you go through all the aspects of a basketball game and a basketball team, you're pressing defensively, offensively. Are you okay with everything right now?
Yeah, I think by this time, I guess maybe our philosophy might be different than other coaches, is that, maybe we'll put a little wrinkle in or others, but we got all of our stuff in. It's just now, especially in our section with the teams that if you run across a team that you've played multiple times before, that they know what you're doing. So now it's about executing against somebody that knows exactly what you're doing. So it's, counters off of what you got and flashing open spots and playing basketball. So, I think we're ready. I would assume every other team in the section is ready to go too.
And I'm sure too, you're not looking further down the road than Thursday. Hopefully you got a team that comes here with 4 wins and win that one. But then after that, it is literally one at a time, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it always is. And like we said, it's not who you play, it's not when you play or where you play, it's how you're playing. So for us, it's the opponent is relatively irrelevant to what we do, because by this time you've kind of seen everything offensively and defensively. So it's a matter of, can you guard this guy in space? Can you box out this guy? Can you make this pass with your chest and not float it? So all of those little things that usually come into play.
And that's the thing, too. This is not news, but with the success that Melrose has had from last year to this year, 24 wins, you have a good plan. But I will say there's other teams around here, they have other plans for the Dutchman, too.
No doubt. And I think one of the things that we talked about, too, is that at the beginning of the year, teams are probably scheming something every day for us. And I think maybe there's part of the practice, whether their coaches specifically say it or not, that this is for Melrose, so that when their team plays us, they have confidence for that. So, I think we're ready. We'll be ready for any punches that anyone's going to throw at us. I think the target that's been on our back all year has prepared us to this moment. We're ready. We're ready.
You know, to close out here, I do want to highlight the three seniors that we've seen so many times out there. We've got the two Meyer boys, Drake and Colton, and Tyler Bregelman. What have they meant to you personally and to this basketball program as they start the playoffs here now next week?
Well, I mean, the thing that sticks out with them is that they're three-sport athletes, and they all lift. So they're really in four-type sports, and they play really hard, and they compete. They've meant a lot to this program, and their success is obviously very well noted. And, you know, they're three of the quietest kids that you'll ever meet, so it's always kind of weird to have three guys with so much success, but yet you'd never really tell it talking to them. But the other part is that they don't mind being challenged. They don't mind being coached. And I think that's one thing that you try to take away from teams, players like that are good and had success, but yet they still are good teammates, good people, and they accept coaching.
All right, we're at a point. Let's throw the ball out there and let's go play.
Let's do it.
All right, thanks, Coach. That's Ryan Dusha, the Melrose boys basketball coach. And again, the final score tonight, 50-30 over Minnewaska.